So now we're going to take a look at the basic berimbolo, where we start looking to take the back, but also it'll start getting a little bit more complex, exploring the crab ride position and going back into the twist hook. So we'll get a little bit of all levels here. So from here, starting from the De La Riva, the same thing as we were doing before. I widen his base out slightly. I've used my foot on his thigh or on his hip to push off, bridge up, and I can start reaching all the way across. And it helps give me the leverage to start walking, or not walking, but kind of working my way towards his back, switching my grip to the pants or to the belt, bringing my opposite hook behind, bringing my right foot behind, and I square up with him here. But let's say instead of kicking him forward, we can kick him back and start looking to go into a crab ride position. So from here, I pull him forward, but let's say he keeps falling back. And when I knock him back, he's going flat to his back. And now from here, we're kind of in a crab ride position right here. And my head is going to be out to my left. And I'm going to be getting a twister hook on the right. And now from here, we're so far underneath him that it's actually very easy for us to start getting the twister hook from here. So all I'm going to do is with my left foot, I post on his right ankle here, on the back of his right ankle. And now I can just swim right in for the twister hook from here. Now, same thing as before, either I can lock up a figure four to hold him down, or I can use my left leg as like a pendulum. And I can kick him up until he's seated. I can get the second hook, and I get the seatbelt from here. So again, we're doing the same setup, starting to look towards the back. I create the space, I bridge, so I can get my left hook all the way to his opposite leg. Once I start going towards his back, then I can start reaching for his belt, and now I can start looking to reach for this far ankle, and I switch my hook from here. And now I can use those to square up with him from here. So the first option we have is trying to kick him forward, but let's say either we feel more comfortable pulling him back, or he starts falling more back himself. So say we pull him in, and he's not, and all of a sudden we realize we've gone too far back. We can easily just kick him backwards from here. And I like to have both hands from here controlling onto the hip. I'm not going to worry about holding onto this ankle anymore. So one hand that's originally on the belt will stay there, and my left hand from here can hold onto the hip. So if he ever tries to walk away or scoot away from me, I have this control from here. And my shoulder's already underneath him, so I'm in a good spot to start taking the back. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start rotating towards his right leg so I can see it. My left foot post to create a little bit of space, and now my right is just going to swim in, and I have the twisted hook from here. And now I can just use my left leg as a pendulum, or I can lock it down. Either way, we have the calf slicer as well. But from here, we're just going to take the back. I get the second hook, get the seatbelt, and we're ready to go. So one more option that we have from the let's say blue belt bolo is looking when we're pulling him back. He's actually going to post his hands on the mat as a counter, and we still have an opportunity to take him back from there. So from here we're doing the same thing, controlling the collar, I widen the base, I start working towards the back. I reach for the pants, I reach for the back of the belt or back of the pants here, and I square up with him here. So we're not kicking him forward, we start kicking him back, but if he posts his hands on the mat, he knows that we're starting to look to take the back. So he's going to post, just so he can't get his back on the mat. Maybe he knows that we're looking for the twister hook, we're looking to go into like certain positions from here that he doesn't want. But we still have an opportunity to go into the back position from here. So I still have my control, I'm controlling his hips here. I'm going to reach with my right hand to the back of his collar. And just like when we kicked him out for the first drill, when he was on his feet, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to start pulling that collar grip in towards me. and I kick out in front. Same things apply, making sure I keep these hooks strong, keep my feet flexed and turned out, seatbelt, and I'm always going to fall to the side that I'm getting the hook in first. So I'm getting the right, and then I follow with the left. So I'm just going to counter his hands posted on the mat with just reaching for the back of the collar. If I can't go forward, I go back, and then as soon as I can't go back, I can go back forward. One more time. From here, I start going further back. I pull him in towards me, and he posts from here. Now, just from here, I keep this grip on the hip, but my right hand start reaching for the back of the collar here. I'm going to use that to pull him in towards me and pull his shoulders in towards me more, and I can start kicking him out with my legs. Pull in, and I kick from here. And now I can get my seatbelt, and then I can start falling for the hooks. So if I fall towards the left, I make sure I get my left hook in first, and then I can follow with the right, the top hook, and we're good to go from here. Now we're going to start taking a look at knocking down our opponent going into the berimbolo, but first going into a pit stop position with the crab ride position. So, from here we can do any of the ways that you want to knock down your opponent here, whether it's, the push and pull, whether it's the step over, stepping on the mat, or going into the deep X de la Hiva. Either way, so Diego can step over, just because of my preference, and we can knock him down from here. And now we can start looking to spin underneath, but a position that I like to go into a lot, and that you start seeing a lot nowadays in competition, is going into what's called a crab ride position. So from here, either you can continue to hold on to the collar, or you can switch to the belt, which most of the time I prefer to do. We can start spinning under, just like we were, keeping our head close to the hip. But now what I'm going to start looking to do is I reach for the far leg, and all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to just, almost like when we went to a twister hook, where I lift up this leg slightly, I'm going to lift my left leg up, and I'm just going to swim my right hook in. So I lift, and I swim my right hook to the inside. And there's a lot of different options we can look for from here. But from here, what I like about this position is we just have a lot of control. See, I'm controlling both hips on either side. One hand is holding onto the belt, the other hand is holding onto the pants, but really I have good equal control on both sides. And I have a lot of different options to start looking to go into twister hook positions, ways to go to the back, ways to go into the leg drag, so on and so forth. So just from here, getting into that position is a good way where if you feel like you're having a hard time getting something going, if you feel kind of stuck in that position, the person is resisting well, it's a good kind of pit stop position to kind of like reset and figure out what you want to do from there. I feel like sometimes if you go straight into the berimbolo, you kind of got to move fast when you don't go into the crab ride position. But there kind of gives you the opportunity to settle, figure out where you want to go, and keep your opponent guessing at the same time. Where also, like I said, you have a lot of different options to go for a lot of different things that we'll explore shortly. So again, you can do any way you want, knocking them down from here. I knock them down. I can continue to hold on to the collar if I want, or I can reach for the belt. Same thing as before. I'm spinning under, making sure my feet are staying tight to his hip. I'm going to reach for his far leg, just like we were doing before. And now I'm just going to start switching to the crab ride, where I'm going to pick up my left leg here, and I'm just going to bring my right foot to the inside by doing that. And now I have both of my shins on the back of his knees. And if I want, I can hold on both hands onto the belt. If he tries to scoot away from here, I can really stay tight to him here. I'm keeping his butt really close to my shoulder, and I'm in a really good position to kind of start looking to open up and have other options. And we'll see, like, if one thing doesn't work, we can go to something else and switch back and forth until something works. So it'll be a lot of leg work, but it's very effective at the same time when done properly. let's take a look at when we go into the crab ride position, going back to that pit stop position, and looking to go to the twister hook from there. So we'll start back from the double guard pull because Diego's feeling better after his squats, but we had a big lunch today, so he needs to sit down for a little while. So from here, we say we've knocked him down however you guys wanted to go into it before. We're going onto our side, we're spinning underneath, and now I'm doing the same thing from here. I'm going to make sure I pump my leg forward a little bit just to create the space, and now I can bring my right hook in. And now from here, always make sure if you ever feel like he's scooting away a little bit, you can always just pull him in and kick your legs up. The higher you can bring up his hips, the more control we're going to have from here. And now all I'm going to be looking to do is I'm just going to switch my feet. So my left foot is just going to post on his ankle from here. And just like how we did the twister hook before, we want to make sure this is a fairly quick motion. We don't want to be, we can sit here, this is fine. This is a good controlling position. But we don't want to sit here for too long. We don't have as much control. So we want to make sure I'm switching. So I'm going to go 1 to the ankle, and then 2, just like when we got the twist hook before, I'm going to make sure I rotate my hips towards him and I start facing him. And I get that twist hook from here. And same thing as before. I start kicking down towards the mat, exposing the back. I get the seatbelt right away from here. And one detail that I haven't gone over, but always make sure whenever we get the seatbelt from here, I'm protecting my choking hand. So whatever the bottom arm is here is always going to be the top hand when we get the seatbelt. And making sure that I cover the knuckles here and staying tight. And then we can get that second hook and we're good to go from here. I reach across first and then I can go into the crab ride here. And now from here, guys, if he ever starts like trying to scoot away, I can always use these grips to pull him in towards me and stay tight. And I'm always keeping my shins pressed up against the back of his knees here. And now all I'm going to do from here is I start switching my feet. So my left foot is going to post on the back of his ankle here, and now I can just start rotating my hips towards him. Remember, if we stay here for too long, we might lose the position. And also, if we don't rotate our hips, I really don't have the angle to get my shin properly to the back of his knee. So I want to make sure that I really turn towards his leg, turn towards him here. And now I can get that shin behind. And now it's going to be much easier for me to use my left leg as a pendulum, expose the back, get the seatbelt, and get the hooks, and we're good to go from here. So now we're going to start looking at when we get into the crab ride position. Another option that we have is going straight into the leg drag from there. So we have our position, we go inverted here. I pump the leg so I can create a little bit of space for my leg to come in. And if you're really flexible actually, if you feel like you can get your foot in here without doing that, that's fine. If you feel like you're not very flexible, maybe you need to kick up more to bring that foot behind. So sometimes that leg kick in the beginning can depend on how much you really need it. If it just needs a slight kick and you feel like you can really bring your foot in easily, that's good. But if you feel like you need to kick more to help bring your foot in, that's fine too. Just want to make sure that it's a fairly quick motion. It's not one of those motions that's going to be very slow at this point. So now from here, once we're in the crab ride, all I'm going to be looking to do is going into the leg drag position. So when I do that, the first foot I'm going to switch is my left foot. We're almost going to go into like an X-guard type hook on his right leg from here. So that's always going to hook on the outside of his knee first. So I have two hooks here on one leg. And now I'm just going to switch. My right hook is going to come out. I'm going to start posting my foot on the mat. And you see my left hand that's on the hip is going to start dragging his legs towards one side. And at the same time, I start posting my right foot on the mat, and I'm going to look to kick out my left leg. Kind of kicking him away from me here a little bit. So it's hard, if he tries to pummel his leg back in, it's going to be difficult. Because if I stay back here, he can start bringing that leg back in, maybe start pulling me into 50-50. But by extending my leg here, if he tries to kick his leg back towards him and circling it around to get behind this leg, it's not going to be very easy at this point. So now I always extend that leg. I can start reaching for the collar, or I can start reaching for the hip, and I'm going to start coming up on top. So I use my bottom foot here to start posting up, coming up to my knees. I like to drive to my left knee on the mat, and I'm in a good leg drag position. Since we're coming up far away from this leg drag, and since we're on our side, if you ever end up in this position right here as well, where the leg dragging leg is the one that's keeping the knee up and the opposite knee's on the mat, that's fine. A lot of people do like both options. For me, I've always felt comfortable driving my knee to the mat here. I feel like I put on better pressure. But if you ever want to pit stop in this situation right here where we keep our knee up off the mat and are pinching our knees right here, this works well too. So as long as we're behind his both legs here, we're going to be in a good spot regardless. So again, we get into the crab ride position. I'm always making sure I'm controlling both hips from here to make it harder for him to scoot away. And now instead of looking to go for a twister, we can start looking to go into the leg drag. So, one, my left hook comes in first, already kind of setting up that shin to the back of the knee, my dragging leg right here. I take my right hook out, and I'm going to start looking to come up onto my right shoulder here. And you see I start facing towards him, my knee is already in the middle, and now I'm just going to start kicking this leg, extending, so that it's going to be hard for him to retract his leg and start bringing it back in. Now I can start controlling, making my grip, kind of working my way up, either reaching for the hip, reaching for the collar, and coming up on top here, right into the leg drag position. Like I said, if you feel like you don't want to come up all the way up on top, driving your weight all the way to the left, it's also a good option to keep the opposite knee on the mat and keeping this leg dragging leg extended from here and staying low, and we're in a good position to pass. So let's take a look at another option from the crab ride position. So from here, we're doing the same entry, and as you know, we have a few different options from here. We can go into the twister hook, we can go into the leg drag, but off of this X, we can also start looking to switch up on our partner here, where maybe they're not going to be expecting us. Maybe they'll be expecting us to go for a leg drag with my left leg, but they wouldn't expect me to come back the other way. So one thing we can do to throw off our partner, especially if someone has seen it numerous times, if they've been in this position, if it's not an uncommon situation for them, what we can do is I can bring my head to the outside, and now with this top leg here, my right leg, I'm just going to bring it behind his far leg here. And now I can switch up and come up to the leg drag on the opposite side. Same thing as before, I'm driving my knee to the mat. I can control the collar, making sure I'm keeping my elbow to the inside and staying low from here. So you see from here, from the crab ride position, it just gives us a lot of different options. We don't have to just give them one thing. It's whenever we get into the position, it's not just going to be, okay, well, we know he's going to go for the twister hook from here because he's in the crab ride position. You see that we have the leg drag on either side from here, and we still have other options to explore. So you see that, you know, we're not limited to just one thing, and that we can continue to move. If one thing doesn't work, you can always switch to another, especially since we're in a dominant position, an attacking position, and at the point where our partner can't do anything either. So just keep in mind where if the twister hook doesn't work or if the leg drag doesn't work, we always have other options to go to that are right in front of us, like this leg drag right here. And at the same time, there's not much that our partner can do to counter or really put us in any danger at the same time. So again. From here, I'm in a safe spot right here. There's not much that he's going to be able to do, so we have a lot of options with the little amount of risk. So from here, like I said, we can go into the twister hook, we can go into the leg drag, or we can switch into the other side leg drag. First, I make sure I cross my legs right here. I get into a good X-guard type position on his right leg. And now I can start bringing my head to the outside. And now from here, I'm just going to use my right leg. I'm going to bring my right foot behind his knee. And I start coming up right away. Rolling right up onto my knees here. Driving my knee to the mat. Making sure I keep my knees pinched and tight from here. Controlling the collar, elbow to the inside. And staying tight, and we have a good leg drag. And we're ready to start looking to pass. Now let's take a look at a counter from when our partner is going to start making a grip on our pants when we're in the crab ride position, and how we can counter that, and how we can look at a little bit of a different way of taking the back. We've all seen how we're going to get into the crab ride from here. But now let's say, for example, Diego's going to start making a grip on my pants from here. And what he can try to threaten from here is trying to pull this leg in towards him and maybe trying to force a 50-50 position here. Or if he can, maybe starting to look for a leg lock or any type. So we always want to make sure that we're addressing this right away. We can't just let him start pulling in, especially if he's stronger than me, especially if he really can pull in hard. Maybe I can lose this position here and end up in a 50-50. Which, if we come up on top, maybe we can get 2 points for a sweep, but we don't want to be getting stuck in 50-50. It's not the most thrilling position to be working from at all times. So when we're here, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start reaching with my right hand and making a grip on his sleeve from here. And simply just breaking that grip and pulling towards me and making sure that I'm keeping my shin glued to the back of his knee. And now all I'm going to look to do, I'm going to maintain this grip. I'm going to keep it tight to his hip right here. And with my left hand still on his belt from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick my feet upward, and I'm going to pull his hip in towards me. And I'm going to be able to expose his back. I'm under his hip from here. I want to maintain my grips. I don't want to let go from here. So now I'm just going to start sitting up, and I'm going to kick again. And I start exposing his back. Without having to let go of the grips from here, I can start taking the back without having to go to the twister hook any other way. And now I'm just going to get the seatbelt. Same thing as we've talked about before, keeping my feet flexed to the outside so it's hard for him to start scrambling away. And now I can start getting the hooks from here, and we'll be good to go. So what we're looking to avoid here mainly is getting caught in the 50-50. Like I said, it's not the most exciting position, and it's definitely not having the back. You know, sometimes in competition it could be easy to settle just to get into a stalling situation and be able to ride it out. But from here, we really want to try to, you know, maximize this good position that we're in. So taking the back at all costs, making sure we break this grip and make sure we stick with that grip and hang on to that grip on the sleeve so that he can't pull that leg back in. He makes a grip from here. He's looking to pull the leg in. From here, I'm just going to counter by reaching across with my right hand. I can let go of his hip, and I'm going to start making a grip on the pants. And now I'm just going to start pulling my grip back, almost like I want to come back to making this grip on the hip here, except I'm just going to take his arm with me. And now from here, I can start utilizing both these grips to extend my legs and pull his hips in towards me. I'm going to start trying to sit up, pulling him with me with the two grips that I have. And now I'm just going to extend again. Keeping my feet flexed so he can't just kick out. I can get the seatbelt right away. Obviously, don't sit there with the grips for too long. As soon as we're in a seated position, get the seatbelt right away, and then we get the hooks. And now we're maximizing getting into the crab ride. So now let's take a look at an opportunity to go for like a berimbolo type position, except starting from the close guard. So we're starting the close guard, and obviously if he's on his knees, we're not going to be able to go for it from here. So he's going to have to come up onto his feet for us to start attacking the position here. So he's coming up onto his feet, I'm grabbing a cross collar right away. I'm starting off with this grip. And now what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to open my close guard, and I'm going to close it right above his knees. So I'm going to kind of get like a leg clamp type position on him here. So I open the guard, and I close it right back up. Right by the knees here, maybe a little above the knees. And now what I'm going to be looking to do is I'm going to start making a grip with my left hand on his left leg, on his left pant leg here. And now all I'm going to look to do from here is I already have his legs trapped so he's not going to be able to post. All I'm going to do is I'm going to use my right hand on the collar to start pulling him to the mat and knocking him down from here. And now just like the leg clamp sweeps we were going over before, or the leg clamp going into the mount, going to the back, I keep my feet crossed and I can continue to do the same thing. If you want, you can continue to hold on to this collar, or you can reach for the belt here. And I go inverted. And now the same thing applies. I can start going back, I can roll backwards here, coming into the mount, or I can continue to roll forward and expose his back, controlling the back of the collar and taking the back from here. So we've seen this leg clamp position before, but now another option that we have is starting from close guard. And I really like this because it really doesn't give the guy a chance to move around too much. We start off with the close guard, we have good control from there, and then we're going into the leg clamp, and we don't have to let go of that all the way until we take the back or go to the mount. So I feel like this is a very effective position. It's very strong, and it can be very frustrating for our opponent at the same time. So again, we're starting in the close guard. He's going to be standing. I'm going to grab cross collar here, and I'm going to open up, but I'm not going to stay open for very long. I open up the close guard, and I close it right back up from here. And now from here with my left hand, I start reaching, not just for the pant leg closest to me here, but for the far one. And now I can, as I'm more towards my left, I can start knocking him down to that direction from here. And once his hip is on the mat, I keep my legs crossed from here. I'm not just going to start letting go. I start spinning underneath. Same thing as before. And now I have a few options. One, I can kick my legs back. I can start going into the mount from here and start walking my way up. Or two, I can come back the opposite direction. Posting my feet on the mat, rolling forward, grabbing onto the back of the pants, grabbing onto the back of the collar, and working my way up for the back. And we'll be good to go. Nowadays in competition, we see a lot of guys starting from trying to get into double guard pull situations, and even though the rules in IBJJF competitions have been modified so that you can do that, people will still try to strategize to get into double guard pull. So it's a position that's become fairly hard to avoid, especially at the upper weight class, the lower weight classes. So I just want to show you guys what I'm always keeping in mind when I'm in the position. Not even going into the berimbolos, going into any attacks from there, but just things that I'm looking out for, things that I want to do to set up the best chance for me to succeed when I'm in this position. So whenever I'm in the double guard pull from here, I always feel better at attacking from my left side. Or honestly, and for anyone, it's always just attacking from whatever side you have the De La Riva on. So most of the time for me, that's my left side. So whenever I have that left De La Riva hook here, I'm always just trying to stay on my left. And I'm we're in this kind of squared position right here, but the person that's winning the battle, we don't want to be squared up with them. When we're squared up with them, they can easily go for the berimbolo as well as I can. We can both get into this situation where we both have the De La Riva hooks on each other and we're just canceling each other out. And now we're really playing a lame game of footsies. You know, there's a way to be a savage, a double guard puller, and this is definitely not it. So from here, I'm always making sure that if I want to go to my left, I'm getting that left De La Riva hook, and I'm going to try to keep my butt to the outside of his feet. So if I'm kind of like here, I'm too squared up with him. So try to keep in mind keeping your butt to the outside of this foot from here, even when you're controlling that ankle from here. Or even if you're kind of sitting over his foot, that works well too. And also what I'm looking for from here to counter that so that he doesn't start coming around and getting a De La Riva hook himself is I'm going to make sure that I'm posting with my opposite foot on the inside of his leg. So as he tries to get that De La Riva hook back, it's going to be difficult for him here. He's going to have to battle. At this point, he's starting from behind. So mainly just staying tight to the ankle here. I'm posting on the inside of his leg, and I'm trying to get to my shoulder as much as possible from here to start. If I can start getting to my side, I feel even more comfortable that I can start being able to be the one that's faster, to spin underneath and start looking to take the back. So the more that I can start working towards the side that I'm playing on, the side that I want to start going into the berimbolo, if I can keep that De La Riva hook in strong, not make it easy for him to break that, holding onto the ankle and staying on the outside, keeping my butt slightly to the outside of his foot, instead of staying squared up here, I'm going to be in a really good situation. And then to really keep him from being able to attack on his own, if I can keep this foot posted on the inside of his leg, keeping his leg at a distance so that he can't start looking to kick away or anything like that, and I can keep him from getting a De La Riva hook on his side, then I feel like I'm going to be in a really good position to start attacking. And obviously we haven't done anything yet, but we're already starting with that little advantage to begin the match. Now I want to take a look at when our opponent knows one way to counter the berimbolo. When we start trying to knock them down to their hip, instead they're going to be backstepping and dropping their weight high up on us. This is something that I've gotten caught in a lot, especially at Marcelo's. Of course with Marcelo himself and John Satava. Both of them have very similar games, and both of them are very good at passing when turning away from their partner. And I can say I've been passed by this a lot, but at the same time I've been able to find a way to have success when someone is able to drop their weight on me here and still be able to take the back. So like I've said, always finding the back. So from here we can be doing any way to try to knock them down, and there is a way. So if my opponents out there want to check this out, here is a way to try to beat my berimbolo. We can start trying to, if I start trying to kick you out from here, what a lot of guys will try to do, especially at Marcelo's that I've seen, they take a good long back step here, so they post, and they start dropping their weight before I get a chance to start spinning underneath. And this can be a problem from here. Let's just turn a little bit, Diego. And we're kind of stuck in this reverse half guard position. But once we get here, we need to make sure that we don't let this happen, where Diego continues to drop his weight and walks his way upward on me. And you see how my arm is going above my head here. Once I start getting into this situation, this is when I'm going to be in trouble. So as he starts dropping here and he's first in this initial position, I need to be ready to move right away. So what I'm going to start doing is I start coming up onto my left elbow here, and I start reaching across his back. And what I'm going to do is, if I can keep him lean forward, it's good, I can start working for it. But I'm going to start pulling at his gi here. I'm going to start pulling. Let's turn a little bit. And finding this lapel from here. Once I have a grip on the lapel, I really want to make sure I pull it out, and I'm going to pull all the way across. I want to try to get the lapel tight to his armpit here, and I want my forearm to go along his back. I'm not going to be very strong from here if I have my elbow bent and if my forearm's not going across his back from here. So I always want to make sure that not only am I pulling his lapel in towards me, and I'm staying it's tight against his armpit from here, but I'm pulling my arm in and staying tight in this situation here. So if he tries to back up on me, it's not going to be very easy for him here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my feet. So let's just turn again, Diego. Where from here, I have the figure 4, but I can't just let go here. He's going to be able to step out and maybe he can start countering and start passing again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my feet. So I have the figure 4. Instead, on my right shin, or my right leg is going to go over and going to go to the back of his knee. So I go right foot to the back of his knee, and I'm going to start working my way back up to my left knee here. And now with this grip that I have, I'm going to start sitting back to my right hip, and I can start taking the back. I get the seatbelt right away, I start falling to my right hip, and I can get my second hook from here. So, if the berimbolo doesn't work, if someone drops their weight on you before you even get a chance to like start spinning underneath, just remember not to let them work their way high up on towards you. If you start working your way high up, then that's another scenario that could be very difficult to deal with. But as long as they're low on you when you have that type of reverse half guard, we still have an opportunity to start countering and make it into a good position. Not only just escape from maybe a tough situation, but make it into something positive as well. So one more time. Let's say I'm kicking him out, he's seen this before, he knows exactly what I'm looking for, he stays up, and then all of a sudden he just drops his weight. And we end up in this reverse half guard position from here. Automatically I want to make sure that I lock my feet up here. I don't want to just kind of keep my feet open and be like, oh man, some guys when they get beat by the De La Riva, they just kind of, when they lose their De La Riva, they kind of give up from there. But when we're here, we got to make sure that we stay tight. We keep our feet crossed and we keep moving forward here. So before he starts working his way high up on me, where now this becomes another whole scenario, I'm going to start coming up onto my elbow here and stopping him from being able to walk back. I'm going to reach across with my right arm and start working for the lapel. I start pulling it out. As long as I'm leaning forward, it's going to be hard for him to fight back here since I have this post. So we do have a little time to buy. To pull this lapel out, I start making a grip from here. And watch what I'm going to do from here. I'm not just going to have my elbow pointed up. I want my forearm going across his back. And now from here I can switch my feet. So I have the figure 4 with my left shin going behind my right knee. Now I'm just going to switch. My right foot is going to try to hook behind his knee as I come up to my knees from here. And now I can start falling back to my right. Pulling him towards me, bringing in my left leg out. And I can get the hook, I can get the seatbelt. We go from what was a good position into a bad position and still coming out on top. So now we're going to take a look at another situation where our opponent is going to be countering the berimbolo. We're going to be knocking them down from here, but let's say, for example, Diego knows that I'm going to be trying to spin underneath. One thing that our partner can try to do is just try to scoot away, and that's what Diego's going to be doing from here. Once I knock him down to his butt, I have options from here, but maybe he's not making it easy for me to spin underneath and get inverted and get underneath him. So we still have an opportunity to look for leg drags and obviously make something good out of it. So we're knocking him down, however, and say he steps over, boom, I force him to his hands, I knock him down from here. But he's just not making it easy for me to scoot underneath him. Like he's just walking his hips back, not making it easy. Maybe he's just keeping posted on his hand here. I can't get underneath him too easily. Or let's say we have a short period of time left too, and maybe we don't have the time to go underneath and start looking to worry about taking it back. We just need to get on top here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my grip to the belt with my right hand. And once I'm here, I'm not just going to hold on with my right hand, I'm going to come in with my left too. Because I'm going to be actually switching my grips. My right hand is going to come back. The reason why I switch my right hand to the grip here is because if I do this, where I start switching here and then reaching for the belt, then he might even move even further away from me. I always want to keep some type of control of his belt, so I'm always keeping him at least somewhat close to me. So we're here, I'm controlling the collar when I knock him down, I hold on to the belt, I keep him close. And now I'm going to switch, and I have my reassurance with my left hand. Now I can let go with my right, and this hand's going to go to the bottom of his pants here. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be picking up this leg. I'm going to pick up the leg, and I'm going to be swimming my right leg to the inside and looking for the leg drag. So I pick up the leg, I swim to the inside, and at the same time I'm starting to come up on top. I come up on top here, and I can start looking for the leg drag right away. I don't have to continue to hold him to his grip at this point. I can control the collar, keep my elbow to the inside so he can't bring his knee in, keeping my head low, and we're good to go in a good dominant position. I knock him down from here, but he does a good job of scooting away. He's just not making it easy for me. My head's too far away. It's just, I don't feel like it's working for me to try to spin underneath. So another option that we have is to look to try to come up straight into the leg drag from here. I control the belt with my right hand, just so that I can keep him close, and so that I don't lose any space when I come with my left hand here. Now I can let go with the right, hand goes to the pants, and I'm just going to lift up his leg while circling my right leg to the inside. I pick up, and I start coming up on top right away. Coming up onto my knees, I don't want to sit on his left knee for long. I drive my knee to the mat. I keep my knees pinched from here, staying tight to his hips, controlling the collar, elbow to the inside, and we're good to go from here. Now we're going to take a look at an option from double guard pull where it's difficult for us to get our hooks in. It's difficult for us to get what we want when we're in a double guard pull situation. But we can still look to go into a berimbolo type situation where we start going into the twister hook without even having any type of De La Riva hook to lead us. So from here, let's say for example that Diego is doing a really good job of keeping me away. And at black belt, I've dealt with a good number of guys that do a good job of just kind of like kicking you straight in the nuts and not letting you do anything. Like I don't want to name names, but there's some mean guys that are defending the double guard pull. When someone doesn't want to go for berimbolos and they just kind of want to sit with you, there are times where it can get very difficult to get their De La Riva hook, where they'll just kind of like kick you and try to keep the distance from here and really not give you many options. Or let you get to your position that you want, because they know you want that hook. They know you want to be on the outside. They know you want to control, try to bring the head to the head from here. So from here, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off with a grip on the pants here, and I'm going to make I'm going to try to make an inconspicuous grip more towards the front of their belt here. Most of the time when we're going for the berimbolo and we're controlling the belt, we're trying to control more by the hip, because that means we're a little bit closer to their side. But if I reach for the front of their belt here, I don't feel like it's as much, it might not feel as much of a threat. We're still kind of squared up with them here, which isn't always what we're looking for. But we still have the opportunity to start going for the back. We just kind of have to roll forward more. So I'm going to reach for the front of his belt. And at the same time, this is a very hard grip for him to break. So even if he doesn't really want this, I feel like I can hang on to this grip here. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to start rolling onto my left shoulder. And I'm going to have a little bit of space, but I'm going to close the space really fast once I roll through. So I start rolling. I come up to my knee, and I roll over my left shoulder, and I pick up his leg from here. And my legs are dangling here, but obviously I'm not staying here for very long. Watch how I bring my feet back, and I'm going to go right back into the twister hook. And I start locking it up from here, going right into the position. So I shoot my leg up, and I swing my right leg around, staying tight. And I already know with my left foot, I start curling his leg in so that it's going to be hard for him to break that twister hook from here. Remember, if we don't have this leg tight, if we have a floppy hook, it could be easy for him to extend his leg and kick out from here. So I always want to make sure that I stay really tight from here. And same thing as before, either you can hold on here, we have the calf slicer that we can finish from here, or you can use your left leg as a pendulum and take the back. So again, say we're in the double guard pull here, but my partner is just really giving me a tough time. He's really extending his legs. Maybe he's doing a good job at doing what we want to do when we're going for the berimbolo ourselves. Controlling the inside of my leg here, pushing the inside, not letting me get the De La Riva hook. So we're just going to start looking for our grips first. Normally I like to try to get my De La Riva hook in first, and then I can start working my grips. But in this situation, if he's really giving us a hard time, I can start making my grips first from here. So I'm going to make a grip on the pants. I'm going to make a grip on the front of the belt. Ideally, I like to try to control more by the hip, but say if he's really making it difficult for us to get that, I can still control the front of his belt here, and this will still work well. Now I'm going to start rolling over to my left and over my left shoulder. From here, I roll through, and now I shoot my legs up, and I'm going to go right into the twister hook from here. And now I can start kicking down, exposing the back, getting the hooks, and we're going to be good to go from here. So now we're going to be looking at a position when we're knocking our opponent down, but he's doing a good job of staying posted on his hand, not letting us bring his hip to the mat. And it's always kind of hard to spin underneath when they keep their hip off the mat. Once their hip hits the mat, it becomes a different story. We can start spinning underneath, even if they have their hand posted. But when they're keeping their hip up while they're posting, then that's something that we kind of have to address. And we have one way that could be a little vicious, but it does the trick. So from here, we can do any knockdown we want as long as we start bringing him down to his hip. And what Diego's going to do is he's going to post right here. And all I'm going to be looking to do is I'm going to look to deal with this hand right away. Sometimes we can deal with it by trying to pull the grip in, but I don't also want to let go of the collar at the same time. I want to make sure I keep this grip. Because even if I let go of the collar, maybe it's going to be easy for him to come back up to his feet because I don't have any control of his posture here. So from here, I'm just going to be using the De La Riva hook that's in here, and I'm going to be looking to kick out the hand. And now from here, I can start looking to come up on top. Sometimes we'll end up in a single X, or sometimes we can start ending up in a dominant position where we can come up into the mount. But really, our main goal here is to knock them down to their butt, and start looking to come up on top right away. It's not the prettiest thing, but it gets the job done and it gets the 2 points that we need. So looking to kick out the hand from there and looking to come up on top at the same time. So again, from the De La Riva, when I'm trying to knock him down, he's doing a good job of posting his hand on the mat. And I don't want to let go of his collar here to start reaching for his sleeve, because then I'm kind of losing his posture. I'm losing this anchor here. So all I want to start looking to do is I want to start looking to kick out the hand. So I'm still pulling down on him here. It's hard for him to come back up on top, up onto his feet at least. And I'm just going to look to kick out this hand here. Once I kick out, then I can start coming up on top. Like I said, it's not always the prettiest thing, but it's what gets the job done, getting us into a top position and gets us in to start looking to pass. Sometimes it's not always going to be easy, or it's not going to be the smoothest transition where we're spinning under, but like I said, as long as we get the 2 points and as long as we're continuing to move forward and progress, that's what's most important. Now let's take a look at an option where my opponent just really doesn't want to engage in the De La Riva. Maybe I have the De La Riva hook on him, but he's not trying to drive his weight forward, he's not really trying to pass, he's just trying to stay back and avoid any of the attacks that I'm going to be looking for going into barambolos or going into leg drags. He doesn't want to get knocked down, so his option is to stay back on his heels. And we can actually use that to our advantage. The more he starts falling back, the more we have an opportunity to just look to take him down and score a quick 2 points. So from here, I get this a lot in training because a lot of the guys know exactly what I'm looking for. They know that I like to try to spin underneath. They know I want to try to knock them to their hip, and they know when they get to their hip, at least if I'm not getting the barambola, there's a lot of other things I can start looking for, and I can start leg pummeling, going into the leg drags, and all the other options. So what another option we have from here? Let's say, for example, Diego is just simply not engaging. He's keeping his weight back, which can really make it hard for me to start loading his weight up on towards me and knocking him down to his side. I kind of need that. I need that weight on top of me more to be able to knock him down. So if he's staying back, he's kind of hurting my options. And I can work for it. I can open up and I can just start trying to kick him over and get more aggressive with it. But sometimes at the same time, that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for you to open up and try to force your position even more. So sometimes we need to take a side of caution when it comes to that. So maybe instead of trying to kick him over, where sometimes in that scenario you can see guys going for knee cuts when they see the opportunity, maybe that's what they're waiting for. Let's continue to kick him back and let him be like, okay, good, he's just continuing to kick me back. Now what I'm going to just do is I'm just going to switch into an ankle pick from here, where I start coming up, I post my foot on the mat, and I'm pulling his leg up from underneath him. And now he doesn't have any grips. I have the one grip on his leg. Perhaps we can take the advantage of starting to look to go into a leg drag, or we can go into a Toriano pass. The nice thing about coming up for this single leg is that he has no control over me. I have the one control. There's a lot we can do with that leg. So maybe we're not getting the barambola that we're looking for, but we're coming up on a leg and we're already in prime position to do something to do some damage with it. We're in the De La Riva. I'm looking to try to knock him to his side, but he's really keeping his weight back. He's not making it easy for me to do anything. So I'm just going to start kicking and sitting up. And I switch my hands from here. And I want to make sure I'm not sitting here for very long. This isn't going to be a spot where I want to get comfortable in, especially when I don't have any grips. Maybe he can start stepping over and start closing the gap. So make sure that this isn't one where we're like, okay, now what do we do from here? You know what you're going to do already when you're on your back. So when we're in this position, there's no pause in it. So when we're here, just come forward a little bit. I kick, I create the space, I switch, and I just come up and I scoop my butt back and I pick up the leg from here. And now I can start looking to go into the leg drag, or I can just take advantage, however you guys want, to start looking to go into the pass. Any way to get to the side. The big key there is that we're knocking our partner down without allowing them any grips, and we're really in a good position to get into a good position from here. The barambola doesn't have to start just from your back and just from the De La Riva. There is ways that we can find it from other positions. Maybe it's not the most common thing to look for from the top situation, but there's a lot of times when the standard passes from certain guards isn't easy to hit. You know, where there's a lot of high-level guys that have very high-level guards, whether it's single X or De La Riva, and sometimes it's not easy to get standard passes, and we need to look for ways to get underneath them again. So one option that we have from the single X, actually when we're on top to take the back, is very effective. It works well for me. So from here, starting from the single X, of course I'm not going to be able to do anything if I don't clear some feet first. So what I'm always looking to do is I'm always looking to try to clear this foot, and then I can start dealing with my left leg here and stepping it in front. So what I'm going to do is I start clearing this foot. And obviously we don't want to sit here for very long, because guys who have solid single leg X's are going to be able to bring their leg right back up. and we're going to be battling back and forth. So what I'm always going to do is I'll break the single leg X and I stay low from here. But now I'm going to continue to push this leg down, and I'm going to step in with my left foot. So I'm going to start turning away from him, and I step in with my foot here. And I'm kind of pinching my knees on his right leg here. And now I have the angle when I'm turned away from him slightly to start looking to roll forward. So now from here, I'm going to start rolling over my right shoulder, and at the same time I'm going to start making a grip on his pants or on his belt if you want. From here I feel a little bit more comfortable with the pants, and I can start reaching for his pants with my left hand here. I roll forward, and I'm ending up, I need to readjust my legs a little bit from here, but we're ending up right underneath him here in a situation to start going into any type of berimbolo situation we've already been in. So we can look for the twist and look from here, or we can start looking for the leg drag, and we can start taking the back. So the same finish, except starting from our feet. Let's say the guy has a really tough single leg X. He's seen all of our other pass opportunities before. Now we can start looking to roll, getting underneath him, and giving him another look. So again, starting from the single leg X. He's keeping really tight from here. I need to make sure I clear this top hook first. So from here, I make sure I push. And I'm only going to push, but I'm going to keep this leg down from here. I don't want to just let go here, keep my posture up, because automatically he's just going to bring his foot right back. So as soon as we're here, I push down, and now I'm going to start turning to my left from here. And I'm going to step back with my left foot. I step back from here. So again, I push, step back, I start squatting, and now I'm going to start switching my grips. So the hand that was posting on his knee before is now going to go to his hip, and my left hand is now going to go to his pants. And I'm going to start rolling over my right shoulder, right into a berimbolo situation here, right underneath him. Like I said, we can go into leg drag, or we can go into our twisted hook straight to the back. Seatbelt, and we're good to go.